Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today, back here with another video. Today we got the Q&A. So, over the last handful of days, I've received a lot of questions, 32 to be exact, of a bunch of stuff going from just the Flyers this season, thoughts on, prospects coming up, things like that. And honestly, a lot of it is either if it's I actually got a lot of good questions, and I like a lot of them because a lot of them kind of tie into each other because there's just so much on everybody's mind right now that's kind of the same thing. And then there's also ones about stuff about like myself, like how did I become a fan. I'll answer more of those at the end. But again, I really appreciate all the support and all of the questions you guys sent in. Like I said, there's 32, 33, something like that. So there are a lot of questions here that we'll be getting into very shortly. And honestly, I'm still kind of processing how this team has just completely fell off. It still boggles my mind, but I think kind of just to start off, this is probably my favorite question here from Danny, which is on Twitter at TWL Danny, which is the Liberty Yell Great podcast. And Danny and Chris, they've always been real big supporters of me throughout everything that I have done and since I met them on Twitter and stuff. But honestly, just to start off, this question, as I said, it comes from Danny. So it is, what's the best route for the Flyers to take now in your opinion? Is it along the lines of wanting a complete shakeup or maybe just some minor personnel retooling? Or do you think the Flyers should just stay put and ride this year out? Honestly, Danny, in all honesty, I honestly think the Flyers are just going to stay put and ride this out. I think what we heard from Fletcher is that it's just extremely hard to really do anything. I think the trade market is hard to really move much. As Fletcher said, the terms and the dollars are hard to move out if they want to bring something big back right now, and it's just not going to work for them. I personally think it's probably going to be some minor personnel retooling. I don't think a complete shakeup. I think we're going to have to wait until the end of the season to see if it's going to be a complete shakeup. I really don't know. But as of right now, I think the Flyers are probably just going to stay put and ride this year out, which I think might be the best bet for them. Kind of to go off of that, and this is a follow. This one comes from bleed_orange and black on Twitter. He said, in your opinion, is the culture suffering in the locker room because of the recent performance of March and late February? What can they do besides winning to keep it from becoming worse? Is it even the culture? I think your answer, my answer is pretty much in your question. Is it even the culture? I don't necessarily think it's the culture. I think when Fletcher kind of says it's like the right mix of guys. I don't think it's just one guy. I think it could just be a handful of things that kind of go into it. But I don't really understand it though, because nothing really changed. So I don't know. It's concerning. I really don't understand what it could be, to be honest. I think the only thing they can do is just play as a team, show some heart, and just I think they obviously all realize they have to play better. I mean, you saw it at the end of last game. You saw Ghost comments after the game. Like, they know they have to play better, and they still have time here. I mean, it's not like I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but if they still have a lot of time to turn this around here, and they have to do it very soon if they want to. I think it's too late at this point, but mathematically they are still in it. So I don't necessarily know. I don't know what goes on in the locker room to really say if it's suffering. So I honestly have no idea. This one comes from Noah, which is Flyers24, which is with a PH. Is it worth it to try and make the playoffs when we'll most likely get stomped in the first round? I'm going to answer that one first because this is a two-parter. If they make the playoffs, you have no idea what happens in the playoffs until you make the playoffs. We've seen so many things happen with teams, especially in hockey, where Tampa, for example, and this is just one example, one of the best teams in the league broke a handful of records, President's Trophy, gets swept in the first round. St. Louis, the worst team in the league, on like January 3rd, they win the Stanley Cup. I could go on and on. 2010, the Flyers and the Canadiens are the 7 and 8 seed. They make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Flyers move on to the Cup final. And those are just three examples. So I think if they make the playoffs, anything can happen. Or do they try and go for a high pick with lots of top end D prospects this year? I don't know, because again, Who knows where they'll fall in the draft? Who knows if they even keep that pick? To be honest, with the way that they've been rumored to make trades and stuff, so who knows? I personally think if they make the playoffs, I think anything can happen because we've seen it so many times in the NHL. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything. And this is another one here from Danny. Given all the steps York has taken over the last year, what do you think the Flyers plan with him is at this time? And what would you personally want the Flyers to do regarding York's development? I think they've done a really good job with York's development overall. If they're going to continue that, I think he gets the ELC after this year. I've said that many times before. I think he'll honestly make the NHL to start next year. I would not be surprised if he did. I personally think he's not going to go down to Lehigh Valley from the start. I think he'll make the NHL and then maybe go down at some point. But I think out of camp he could make the NHL. To be honest with you, I think the plan with him is to probably take as much time as possible, which leads me to believe that he'll probably go down to the AHL, and that's probably what they'll do. But I personally would love to see him make the NHL out of camp because I think he's that talented too. I just don't know if the Flyers will do it, to be honest. And this is another one here from Instagram. What is York's ceiling in your opinion? That one came from Henrik Ursi. I probably butchered that. I apologize. I think he's going to be an unbelievable defenseman. I think it's so hard to tell right now what his ceiling would be. I hope he's a very good, solid second pairing defenseman one day. I think that's something that we could really see him to be, something like a Ryan Suter or something like that. I think that would be unbelievable for the Flyers. This one here comes from Ant Vogel. This is from Instagram as well. Do the Flyers drop the bag on Ekholm or something more reasonable for Savard? I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Again, I think if they make that big move, it's probably going to be going into the offseason. If they go for a hockey trade, I could see them trying to get a defenseman that's a UFA for right now, but who knows what route they take. And this one comes here from Positive Philly 4. What do you believe is the Flyers' biggest struggle right now? Team defense. Their structure, the turnovers, the missed guys in front. I could go on and on. I've said it many times. I sound like a broken record because I pretty much am. The team's defense is atrocious. That is their biggest struggle right now. Who are the Flyers' free agent targets this offseason? That one came from Nate Dancer. My guess is probably going to be the same handful of guys of names you've heard: Ekholm, Ellis. I know Mark Stahl's been thrown around. I don't really know how true that is. I know there's been a bunch of stuff. So I would say probably the same amount of guys you've probably been hearing. This is another one here from Nate Dancer 1. Should the Flyers let Alex Lyon come up and allow Hart to go down to the A? Honestly, I don't even understand why that question was asked. I think Hart is fine. He's 22 years old. There aren't many goalies that make the league at that young of an age. The only ones I can think of are a handful of guys. That's like Hart, Fleury, Price. I don't even know. There's been a handful of goaltenders that have done that, and to be able to have some of the numbers Hart had is incredible. So I don't even thinking of sending Hart down is just one of the stupidest things I could think of. Some more Instagram ones. How long until Morgan Frost is a full-time Flyer? That one is from Nate as well. My guess will be next year. If Frost wasn't injured, he definitely will be an impact in the lineup this year. It sucks with the injury he had 4 games into the year when Coots was out there. That's pretty much one of the reasons why he came in, because the Flyers were down their number one center, had to add a boost to their lineup. So that does suck. So my guess is when Frost is healthy, hopefully he's able to come back. We got the update the other day on him from Fletcher. So my guess would be next year. I don't know where he'll fit in because we don't know what team will be here. So my guess would probably be next year. This one here comes from Dawson Lamb. How do you feel about the team's future with all of our young guys like Farabee? I feel perfectly fine about it. I think a lot of these guys, I think it's just a tough year because there's so many things that have gone wrong with this team, and you have so many guys that look like that they've just maybe taken a step back, or everybody that they still have here is young. There's a lot of young guys on this team. I think the Flyers are going to be fine. I really do. I don't think this team is going to be a complete rebuild again. I don't think any of that. I think they're going to be fine. I think the young talent's going to be okay. I think everything is going to be all right here. This one here comes from Flyers_news on Instagram. Who do you blame more, the players or the staff? Because a lot of people seem to blame both. I think it's a mix of everybody, but my guess is probably the staff. I think that's the easiest thing to say is the staff. I mean, if you're losing games like 9-0, 7-3, 6-1 three times, 8-3 last night, I think that's the coaching staff. Because again, it's the easiest thing you can say, and if you're not prepared for a game, then I don't know. Kind of moving on here. This one comes from Owen Vogel. Are there turnover issues, due to coaching system or the players? No options but bad paths, as he put in parentheses. I think it's a mix of both. I mean, I think the system's very readable for the Flyers. I think it was readable in the playoffs, and that's one of the reasons why they kind of got smoked there at times. And I think the players the Flyers shoot themselves in the foot way too many times. I mean, they have bad changes, turnovers all over the ice. I mean, it's a mix of both, to be honest. This one comes from Adam Waxman. In your opinion, do the Flyers making a push or at least getting out of the slump right now? If they get out of the slump, they'll make the push, but I don't know if they'll make the push at this point because, again, I just can't see them getting out of the slump. I don't know when it's going to be, and if they have to do it, it's going to have to be now. It might have honestly had to been started already, so I think it had to have been, so who really knows? This one comes from Flyers91288. Why are we so awful with the laughing emoji? Because their team defense is bad. This one comes from Flyers.opinion. Other than Ekholm, what are some good D options, whether in free agency or trade deadline, to help? I've mentioned a handful before, just to throw some other guys. Ekholm, Savard. Obviously, I know you said Ekholm here. So there would be Ekholm, Ellis, Savard, Jalmerson, Alexiak. There's been Mark Stahl that's been thrown around, like I mentioned a little earlier. So there's been a bunch of stuff and a lot of guys that the Flyers could definitely go after. What do you think the lines and pairs should be? I really want them to stack some stuff. I didn't mind the lines last game, honestly. I would definitely go back to that and just to open up my game notes so I can read off those lines real quick. Because again, I think for the most part, I don't really mind the lines that they had last night because like regardless of the score and everything, I think they're good combinations. If I'm just looking at it from the lines perspective, I don't mind these lines. JVR, Coots, Konechny, Giroux, Hayes, Farabee, Lindblom, Patrick Voracek, Ralph Lawton, Albie Gobel. Defense was Provy, Braun, Sanheim, Myers, Ghost, and Morin. I think Morin will still stick in the lineup. Sanheim and Myers, I would like them to break up that pairing again, to be honest with you. I would put Provy with Myers, and I would put Sanheim with Braun if they're going to break that up. If you want to keep Ghost and Morin together, if that's just how they do it, I don't know. I like TK on the first line. I thought he had a good game yesterday. I thought he showed some fight. He had a good couple first shifts until it was, before it was 3-0 and 6-0 and all that stuff. Again, I think it's a good balance on the offense. I think they just need to play better overall. But another one here. This one comes from Jack VV03. How much do you think the COVID situation has affected their performance? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know. That's not even an excuse. I don't even look at that as something to why this team is playing bad. I think everybody's dealing with COVID, so you can't even make it like COVID's being a big thing. And these are more of the ones that are kind of just, most of the stuff that's like, some personal ones and stuff. But I got one last one here from a Chris 705, which is my dad. The way they're playing now, should they be buying or selling? Buying, 100%. I think selling would be, it wouldn't even make sense for them to sell. I don't even think they could get away with that. But, kind of going off of that, there is one more here. This one actually comes from my girlfriend's dad. Thoughts on the decor, and are there any young defense that can help the blue line? I don't mind the decor. I just, they don't have consistent pairs. That's one thing they had last year. You pretty much had Provy and Niskanen play with each other the whole year. You had Sanheim and Myers play with each other the whole year, and you had either Braun or Hag or Braun or somebody else play at times last year. So they had pretty consistent D pairs last year. They don't this year. That's been an issue. They obviously need to play better. They've tried to do a fix. You've played 32 games, and you, I think, have had Provorov, played with about 4 or 5 defensemen. He's played with Ghost. He's played with Sanheim. He's played with Myers. He's played with Braun. I think he's played with a handful of others that I can't even think of right now. Any young D that can help the blue line. I don't think anybody coming in is going to help out this blue line. I don't think they're going to make any call-ups, to be honest. I think they're just that bad, and I don't think they're at the point where calling somebody up is going to help out this roster, to be honest with you. I think that's pretty much it, though, for most of those questions that are kind of more about the team. This is just some personal stuff now here at the end. This one comes from J Melroy 77. What made you interested in hockey / the Flyers? One of my childhood friends really liked the Flyers and hung out one day. The game was on, put it on, and I was hooked from there. And this one comes from, this is kind of like a follow-up on that. This one is Flyers _03 on Instagram. How long and why did you become a Flyers fan? So as I said before many times, 2012-13, and as I said before in the last question, I turned the game on and I loved it from there and watched every game after that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This one comes from Broad Street Report. Who / what inspired you to start making Flyers videos on YouTube? So actually Steve Dangle was the reason why I started making Flyers videos on YouTube. I saw him do it with the Leafs, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. So when I was, I think, 11 or 12, it was the 14-15 season, I think it was. Yeah, I made a video just talking to myself about the game, and I was sitting in my room here. And it was completely different. Like, the walls were blue and stuff. And again, I was a kid and everything, so I got my room redone in 2016, I think it was. So a couple years later, I got my room redone, painted orange and everything. But yeah, it was a long time ago when I was inspired to do videos, and I kind of didn't really do it for a while when I grew up, and then once I kind of hit my freshman year of high school, I started to do it more, and then last year, my junior year, I really got into it again, and now it's grown to this. So it's unbelievable. I love doing this stuff, and again, I can't make these videos without you guys listening, so it's unbelievable. This is another one here from J Melroy 77. Why is your favorite player Voracek? I just always loved Jake. When I started watching, it was him and G. I mean, they were the two guys, and they were always the guys that were putting up the points at that time. They were essentially carrying the team. The year that I had the partial planned season ticket thing with my dad was the year Voracek had the 81-point season, and he was like, I think, third in the Hart running, or I forget what it was that year. But again, he was unbelievable. Just the way that Jake played, he was aggressive. He scored. He was great on the power play. Had a lot of points, a lot of assists. And he was just unbelievable, and I always liked him. And then I ended up meeting him at practice before, and he ended up signing my jersey, which is hanging up on this wall, which is framed. So it was unbelievable. He was the first Flyers jersey I had after the Sinisalo one, which is up here. So again, I've just always loved Voracek. That's why 93 is at the end of my YouTube name and my Instagram handle and all that stuff, because of Voracek. So yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much it for the questions. I really appreciate all you guys sending them in. It was unbelievable to do this. I love doing this stuff. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these soon, as the season goes on and everything. So seriously, thank you guys all for sending in your questions and things like that. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys in the next one, and let's go Flyers.